forces are under attack.
In the top right, the underdog playing in the blue for Russia and the Night Elves is DiSe. In the bottom left in the red, the big champion, the Emperor of Europe, the uncontested, undisputed winner of all tournaments is Happy.
Oh, the Acolyte stole the creep! Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
It already starts. I'm surprised DiSe didn't pick up on that Acolyte, because he put one of the trappers really low on hit points. And you know, like, it's the first match of the tournament. It's usually Happy just destroying anybody that he meets there. And it couldn't start any worse here for DiSe. Straight into that map number 1. A lot of experience was taken away. And that's also because he, I guess he was paying attention to his keeper that was coming out to head to the other camp. He was a little bit greedy, you know, he was doing this on this side. Look, the Acolyte even damaged the Archer a whole bunch, so he's gonna force some Moonwells maybe to be used early.
Yeah, DiSe, honestly, he's playing on the edge of the meta right now. Nowadays, this is the preferred opening with Keeper, creeping this green camp at the same time, because undeads on this map like going across the map with level 1 and harassing right away with Coil, and then ghouls later creeping with Backpack. And if you go for this opening, the DK will be too late to arrive to do anything. The X factor here is Happy, when there's no Keeper around, he can get the last hits with the Acolyte, which is very hard to do, but Happy immediately making his presence known here on the first map. It's not the end of the world. The Keeper still got level 2, but getting that level 3 is certainly going to be a bit harder now.
If you wonder how much experience that is, the Death Knight after stealing that creep was level 1.4. So it's just that little bit of extra boost that not only boosts you, but also takes away experience from the opponent, where that Keeper now is going to be much harder to push to level 3. DiSe going very aggressive here. The DK, can he get the Coil? Actually, the trains are being blocked. And there is still one spare Acolyte, so Happy should come out of this with at least 5 Acolytes alive, and he gets a clean surround on the Keeper, going to be forcing the town portal. Even saves the Acolyte. He's like, no, I don't want 5 Acolytes, I want 6. You don't get to kill any units.
It's a bit of a disaster here, Todd. This was an aggressive move in by the Keeper, which did nothing outside of forcing mana off of the DK, I suppose. If behind this an expansion had come up, it would be alright. We do see it now. Keeper, Demon, Dryad expansion, that is kind of the most standard build that we see nowadays, pioneered in this matchup by Foggy and played to perfection by him many a times before, but Happy also knows his strategy inside and out, and he's looking right now for that expo cancel. Ghouls, checking the corners, no expansion there, it's safely put in the main, so that one might be coming through. It has to come through, honestly. If this gets cancelled, it's a disaster.
You know, actually in the pre-show, we were kind of like, oh yeah, Happy, we don't really need to talk about his shape. He's always in good shape. Well, I feel like I kind of want to, just because we're Wednesday, and on Tuesday there was the ESL Open Cup, which Happy plays every week and wins every week. Well, let me tell you, this week was no different, and he 3-0'd Foggy in the grand finals. So he's absolutely on form right now. He's looking incredible against Night Elves. He's looking unbeatable, pretty much. And if Foggy couldn't do it, it's going to be even harder for DiSe. So far, you know, he's choosing to play like the normal meta. He's not doing anything crazy, but Happy is just shutting it down as much as he wants here.
Yeah, you mentioned that ESL Open Cup and the everlasting rivalry of Happy versus Foggy. You know, leading up to that Open Cup on Monday, there were some murmurs in the community. There were some glimmers of hope, especially from some Night Elves out there, because on ladder, Foggy had won against Happy 2 or 3 times, something like that, which of course is only a ladder game, but people, their hopes were being raised already. Yeah, but when it came to the tournament, it was once again a very clear affair.
It was on that very day. They played 5 times and Foggy won 3 times out of 5. But then they played a tournament and Happy won 3-0. Don't let that fool you guys.
Matches, as pretty much always. And now we see the ghoul creeping. By the way, this is something that Happy pioneered on this map first and foremost. Using the ghouls to creep up in the meantime while the DK is harassing. So the Happy is getting the best of both worlds. He's slowing down the Keeper and he's creeping himself up at the same time. Now he's level 3. He's got the Telly staff. His tier 3 is a bit late, but other than that, this early game for Happy is outstanding.
Yeah, whenever he gets level 3 this quick, like you can expect after that, it's like it's gonna be really, really hard for you to do anything. He's gonna pressure beautifully. As soon as the Lich is out, in particular Coil Nova, get a mana potion. The incentive to get a mana potion Also, now that the gold price has been reduced, or ever since, is really, really high. Even for just one single extra coil, if that's what you get after a mana burn. Looking for that coil, and he lands it. That keeper is stuck on level 2.
He got only one creep out of that camp, but that was the small one. We have the old school alchemist here being added, and the old school strategy of mass air. Something that was considered not viable anymore for a while, but players like Infi were still able to post good results with that, at least on ladder. Now it's back in the mix once again. But the keeper here being so underleveled, happy with beautiful play. Running back, picking up the item, using the tele staff to join the Skelly in the north, then placing the sentry to steal the last hits. And Happy's just playing pretty much out of his mind here so far. If he gets some more last hit steals, I'm not sure if he got that little one. But he's close to level 4 DK already. That is outrageously fast.
Yeah. And usually out of him, that means an easy level 5 as well. He's just pressuring like crazy. Can't quite land the steal on the big knoll here, but his archers, they're gonna expire very quickly. There's still no entangle level 2. That's the big problem here. That's just entangle level 1, which is not that worrying. It gets fully healed here with a single death coil.
Transfers the TP, or what was it? The circlet first to see if he has the time for the coil. He didn't have that quite. But he's going to TP back now. Good usage of the TP, killing some units and slowing down the enemy creeping even more. As the DK is level 3 already, he's very fight ready. Same is not the case for the Alchemist. He needs to be level 3 himself for that level 2 acid bomb. And so does the Keeper, honestly. But level-wise, it's just looking absolutely horrendous here for DiSe.
And the reason why we weren't seeing that mass air style anymore, or we thought we weren't going to see it as much, is because it was nerfed in the latest balance patch. The base damage of the Fairy Dragon was reduced from 13 to 12. It might not seem like the biggest change, but it is a change that's going to reduce the damage of those Fairy Dragons, which you're supposed to really mass after the initial few Hippo Riders that you get here. But DiSe still thinking that this is his best chance. Maybe he saw the games against Foggy playing standard with Dryads and he was like, okay, there's no way to beat him with that, so I'll try with something else.
Yeah, honestly, even before the nerf, we hardly ever saw Fairy Dragons ever be successful anymore. But after the nerf, it seemed like everyone would agree, well, now it's certainly not going to be playable anymore. But as I said, sometimes players like Infi still showing that it can work in the right sort of game. Happy crept up the natural, was perhaps thinking about a counter expansion. There's still an Acolyte down there, but not quite enough gold to go for it. DK taking some damage here, but is still pretty survivable. DiSe needs these items, needs this experience, but he's getting webbed right away on one Hippo Rider. That's almost level 4 DK. It might be enough, actually. This is quite a bit of experience. Level 4 DK before the first real fight. That is completely ridiculous.
Yeah, that Keeper, it almost seems like he's not even going to get ever level 3 in this game as well. And as much as the Hippo, by the way, got nerfed, the Fairy Dragons got buffed slightly. Mana Flare. The max damage got increased from 90 to 100, and the damage per mana got increased from 3 to 4. So they hurt a lot now. Maybe that's the plan, you know, like set up some of those Fairy Dragons up in the air and be like, all right, use that Coil Nova in statues, and we'll see what happens.
DiSe here with his Zeppelin now. His plan seems to be to harass the economy. That's something, of course, that's very easily doable with this air army. Extremely mobile. Can bypass the defenses and fly into the back right away. But still getting spotted by the Destroyer here as well.
He doesn't have a TP, but he has double staff. So I think the plan here is to harass a bit, and when he sees the army get close and the heroes, he's gonna Staff of Preservation the Alchemist and Staff of Tele the Keeper out. He's just trying to buy time, really.
Perhaps DiSe hasn't realized that there's a counter expansion coming, because this slowing down the game, sitting at 50, banking, and just taking your time, that is something that the Undead loves to do if he does have a counter expansion. I think it may have been scouted now with the air units, but now it's too late for a cancel. Ziggurat standing already, Haunted about to be finished as well. And in 2-base versus 2-base, this mass air style is not playable, I don't think. It should be absolutely hard countered and unwinnable. So DiSe under a lot of pressure right now to get something done real quick before this expo fully pays off.
Yeah, once upon a time, the meta in Night Elf against Undead was that you get 50 supply and then you push as the Undead with a third hero, with Orb. But nowadays, Happy, he loves to mix in a second base of his own around when he's about that 50 supply. And then he'll creep a lot, he'll just take good fights out on the map, and he'll say, well, you wanted to take an expansion, you have it, but so do I now, and good luck beating me with an expansion, because 2-base against 2-base, it is even harder to beat him than usually.
Yeah, normally if you want to take out that expansion, you have to go for sappers to blow up the towers, to blow up the expo. And Happy wisely was camping at the lab to keep these sappers in mind. But there's also a lab on the other side, which DiSe is not going to go for. He's going to go for the economy. So again, he's going to try to slow down the game, keep attention on the unlit side of the map, and probably tech behind this, I would think. But no, actually not doing that. Just massing right now. Lumber isn't the highest here for DiSe. And he's still playing evasive. He can't take a fight right now.
You know, I've never seen a Sapper like fully connect against Happy. I swear, I've seen many people try, myself included. I have never seen a Sapper just come in and then blow up a bunch of his digs. He's so incredibly good at map awareness. And he doesn't even play with a big zoom. He actually plays with default zoom, I believe. So it's not like he has extra space on the screen to see them coming, but he's just so aware of everything that's happening in the game. And Remo, this keeper, is still level 2.
Yeah, he's very fast. And speaking of that zoom, most players nowadays play it with at least a bit of zoom, but Happy is a microscope gamer. He's playing on 1650. He is way up in there, which does help with micro a bit, but yeah. Mostly it's his fast reactions and precision oftentimes that allows him to play this so well, as we've seen many times before. Now we're gonna have the first big fight of this game. Not too many fiends yet for Happy, but still a good number of frenzy ghouls in the mix, which means the DPS here isn't too bad. Focus fire on both sides, one targeting the ghouls, one targeting the fairies on the other side. Finally the keeper gets level 3, but by this time we have enough destroyers to probably easily deal with them. Does 63 supply, has a supply lead over here, summoning more and more Treants. Treants level 2. Happy has to be careful about the destroyers, pulling them back. No upgrades yet on these fiends and destroyers, by the way. Neither, however, on the fairies. We didn't see a Hunter's Hall yet. More and more webs are flying. Happy doesn't have a statue anymore, which is a bit problematic for him here. He doesn't have the passive regen over time, and Tangle getting dispelled. They're just going to be saved once again. Both sides losing a lot of units, and the supply lead still with the Russian Night Elf.
Yeah, this is a fight that Happy didn't even need to take. He has Expo against Expo. He could have just waited until he got way more units, but he was probably just like, alright, it's been fun, but let's put an end to this. So he just takes the fight. Both players completely out of mana on both of their heroes. And Happy will get chased away here. There's a lot of Fairy Dragons left over, but there was never a Hunter Soul made. So it's not like he could actually go for some upgrades here, which should have actually helped a lot here if DiSe had been able to go for that.
Yeah, maybe there was also more consideration here with Happy's play. This mass air strategy gets really hard to handle once there's 70, 80 supply, because then they can one-shot the fiends fairly easily. So maybe Happy thought he had to slow down this critical mass a bit more. Would have loved to see a second crypt by him behind this to be able to pump out mass fiends, but that's not the case. It's only one crypt here still.
The keeper!
With more fiends, of course. Ooh! Didn't even see that. The keeper here in a spot of trouble, gonna be staffed out. Got the item. Boots of Quel'Thalas though. It's one of the worst ones you could have gotten.
Yeah.
And Happy's gonna take the rest of the camp, almost getting level 5 DK and level 4 Lich from this.
Yeah, level 5 Death Knight, when there is no Demon Hunter, like, you're pretty much in heaven here if you're Happy. You know, there's gonna be a lot of Death Cores that you get to work with, and he can get that easily if he finishes this camp. There's still 2 small green nearby. And apparently DiSe is about to gift some Treants. We actually... Wait, what is this Sapper? I just talked about this.
I think Happy saw it. Oh, yes, he did. Double level up from the Sapper. They do give quite a bit of experience. I always forget how much, but yeah, that one got taken out with a Nova real quick. That goal did not pay off well enough. And Happy now, this is his home turf. Next to his towers, next to the shop, he's on Blight, he's kiting in many different directions. And we have a lot of units webbed in the meantime. The critical mass there for the air army seems to be acquired, 73 supply. But is it enough to kill Happy here with the bag against the shop? He does have one armor upgrade now on the fiends, and the beautiful kiting that we've seen so many times by Happy before. Hardly losing anything so far. Some destroyers in trouble, but one more coil comes in with the mana potion. Level 3 coil, of course, and more fairies are starting to drop. And yeah, hit the grave over here. Alchemist also needs to be careful. He's getting staffed out. He will survive, but without Alchemist, how is DiSe supposed to fight this anymore?
Yeah, he doesn't have the Staff of Telly on the Alchemist for some reason. It's on the Keeper, and he wasn't up anyway. Happy managed to kite all the way back, or run all the way back, rather, to the Blight as well, which helped with the health regen. And it looks to be... I mean, it's not the easiest hold, but it's a hold here. And after that, I mean, when you have DK 5.5 and Lich well on its way to level 5, I can't see DiSe being in this game too much longer here, even though he's somewhat equal with Happy in supply now. It's just such an ineffective supply with this Mass Fairy Dragons unupgraded entirely.
Against lesser undeads, once you have 70 supply, you can oftentimes kill the army real quick, one target after the next. But against Happy, once he has that level 4 DK, Once he has that level 2 aura, he is just so lightning fast with the kiting, with the splits. And he's gonna take that late game fight any day of the week. Now also able to rely on his powerful heroes in the late game. Lich almost level 5 will get it here at the red camp, which somehow still wasn't touched. Honestly, we didn't have too much creeping here this game. The other fountain is also still available. And Happy brings out another Acolyte, ready to expand again, perhaps? Well, not doing that yet. He's getting the Khadgars, hallelujah.
And that's gonna be insane.
Happy in full control.
Statue plus Khadgar, the absolute undead dream with high level heroes. Heroes 5/5. 2 fairy dragons get caught in the middle of the map here. They should not have been there. And DiSe. Again, he's equal in supply, but it's such ineffective supply. If he at least, had like 2/2 upgrades on his fairy dragons, that'd be a lot better. And there is no transition inside, but he actually starts tier 3. Probably for Orb, and I don't know what else he would really shoot for here.
Yeah, the plan for DiSe was probably don't invest in upgrades, don't invest in late game. You have to kill him before the expo is established. Get 70 supply, a couple of scrolls, and then go in for the kill. But that didn't work out. The expo is very safe now for Happy. He's got the big army, so now DiSe is trying to go into a later game, going tier 3. But he's now so far behind. With this kind of army, you need a huge supply lead, and now we have Happy in the lead by just a tiny amount. Double level 3 against double level 5 heroes, I mean, the undead here has all the advantages in the world.
Happy actually purchased the Circlate on the other side, and now again on this side. So he has 2 double Circlate on the Lich, 1 on the DK now. Little bit of extra hit points, extra mana pool, extra everything. Seems to be very fond of it. I guess by this stage of the game, he can tell that he's, easily going to be able to make it into 80 supply. And he's just like, okay, well, that's actually going to help my heroes a little more.
Happy here behind this attack, even thinking about a third base. Something that is rarely the case for him. But also, with this attack, going for the Tree of Life, he's 1 kill away from DK6. The ultimate, of course, is useless, but just having the level 3 aura already is very nice, which is going to be another upgrade here that Happy's going to get in a bit. Seems like these last couple of minutes, Happy's just been getting more and more and more upgrades. Thank goodness these fairy dragons are magic immune. Otherwise, the Lich would be able to solo this whole army. But instead, just the tree is going to be sniped. The wisps all get novaed. And Happy's going to say goodbye, leaving DiSe in a ditch. And he's the drunk driver that's leaving the scene.
And now for Happy, it's so easy to just be like, all right, I'll just take center at some point as my main closest to mining out. Actually a bit short on lumber. Happy's only had 3 goals on lumber like the whole time. So he couldn't start the Haunted Gold Mine immediately, but remember your main Haunted Gold Mine gets unsummoned as you completely mine it out. And yeah, the hero levels here. I've rarely seen a game this one-sided in terms of hero levels played at this level here at DreamHack. It's DK6, Lich 5 against Keeper, not even 4. And Alchemist also not level 4.
Yeah, we could really see the rat's tail of this game, like losing that first lasso to the Acolyte and then the staff into the Sentry Ward steals with the coil. And ever since then, DiSe was just playing from behind. Happy gave his opponent more time by going for a counter expansion, playing the safe, didn't want to have to go all in. But now, 73 supply, Fiends and Statues, 2/2 upgraded by the way, also very strong against Fairies. I think Happy doesn't even have to micro here fully. Like, I think you can just A-click in and use Destroyer spell, and this would be easily enough doable.
Yeah, DiSe and no Moonwells as well, so the Alchemist is coming in with almost no hit points. Anti-Magic Potion gets dispelled, so now easily could be nukables, staffed on time, but now the Keeper is exposed. And it's just gonna blow up.
Yeah, the heal scroll there, which barely saves him. Coil's being reserved defensively, otherwise these heroes might be dead already. In fact, I don't know where the Alchemist is. I was staffed out again. Both heroes super low. This could be a Coil Nova execution here for the 1-0. There's the Nova. And the Coil, not quite, but we do see the Death and Decay towards the end, which does work against Fairy Dragons. And Happy takes the 1-0.
Whew, this was pretty much very, very close to a perfect game, was it not?
I think he missed the coil one time. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't. Yeah, that was a perfect game.
Dude, from this early game alone, how crazy this accelerated after the Acolyte stole something, right? And then more steals everywhere until the mid game. For that and for the fact that he lost a lot of experience early, DiSe didn't do too bad. in the long run of this game, but of course, if you have an early game like this, no chance at all.
Yeah, I mean, you got to a 70 supply, but that's not good enough. You need to have a lead. That's what the Keeper is designed to do. Get a lead early, get level 3, be strong, and then use your advantage there to catapult into an economic lead into the late game where the Keeper falls off. So, yeah, DiSe didn't lose too much. He didn't lose the game after 10 minutes, but honestly, Happy was in full control every step of the way.
Yeah, that's scary. DiSe, I looked up his match history on War3 Champions. He was undefeated for like 12 games in a row, and there were good games in there. But man, this is just the menace that is Happy. Like, absolutely crazy.
Yeah, but by the way, Conceal Halo was DiSe's map pick.
Yeah.
We were going to have his map pick now. I can't imagine. Yeah, but at least that first camp, you know, like you can chalk it down to, you know, the creep being stolen and you maybe not being in the zone just yet, allowing that to happen. I don't expect another creep to be stolen from the first camp with the Acolyte. It's like such an unlikely thing. Of course, it happens more when it's Happy playing because he's that good. I don't think it's going to happen in game 2. Actually, I guarantee it right now.
All right, everybody. Will DiSe be able to finally take a map off of Happy, or is it just a clean 2-0 start that we're used to seeing from the Emperor? We're moving on to map number 2 in quick succession here. It is one of the newer maps that we have in the scene, introduced last time already, and it's a very, very beautiful one. Let's go Tidehunters!
Indeed, one of the new maps that has made quite some waves. As we also have an idyllic tropical ocean side here. I remember when this map was being given a new name, because at the beginning it was called Tortoise Haven. It also was a consideration to give it other names outside, aside from Tidehunters, and one of them was Oceanfront. How would you have liked this map to be called Oceanfront, Todd?
Yeah, I think it's an alright name, but you don't really see the ocean. You just see a bunch of water around it, you know? I'm sure there's like... I'm not necessarily like one of them on this topic, but you know, there's a lot of people that will be focused on semantics, you know? They'll be like, where's the ocean then, you know?
I mean, it is around the island though.
What's wrong with Tortoise Haven, by the way? Is there not enough turtles for this to qualify?
Well, I thought it was not very... poetic, not very melodic, you know. I think Tidehunters is much better.
Well, wasn't it that the mini-map is supposed to look like a turtle anyway, so it was like Tortoise Haven, and there is also a couple turtles.
There are a couple of turtles around, yeah, but would have been pretty similar to Turtle Rock. I think this one is more unique. And in general, a very unique map indeed, and one of the great additions here that DreamHack and ESL pioneered. Now, the tournaments around the world have followed suit, and we see Tidehunters everywhere, along with Autumn Leaves. Alright, Todd, the question is, are you a trustworthy man? The Acolyte is ready to prove you wrong.
I would lose my mind if the Acolyte kills something. And he's playing Demon Hunter this time, DiSe. He's known for his Warden against Human, he's known for his Warden in general. I think he's also really good with Demon Hunter. That guy is very versatile. You know, there's some Elf players out there. They play a lot of the same style. They kind of perfect that style. And they don't really focus on having like a big variety of strategies, but I really feel like DiSe, he plays many, many different styles really well.
DiSe just dodged one coil with the Wisp. If you can do this again, it will be quite a bit of mana wasted. Here we can see that DK lost 100 mana and got 0 experience for it. Acolyte also pulled out the creeps to just slow down the Demon Hunter creeping a bit more, so already right out the gate. Very detailed and advanced play we see from both players here.
DiSe denied the last creep, by the way, from that first camp. So I'm a trustworthy man. The Acolyte didn't steal it, but DiSe was like, oh, well. He actually... This is not good.
That's definitely not good. The Demon's still gonna get level 2. And on this map, there's a lot of small creep camps you can take one after the next to get level 3. And level 3 Demon is gonna be a key level up in this matchup. The level 2 mana burn along with boots is what gives Night Elf the control in the mid game to go into competitive late game then if you're going up against Happy. But the big downside, of course, of playing Demon Hunter is he's a lot less dominant early on, and with the Demon Hunter first, it's going to be a lot harder to make that fast expansion work, or any kind of expansion work.
Oh, DiSe, what is this creep? It's pretty sick. Because the Renegades, you can mana burn, so that will do extra damage. So I think he's just looking to pick up the item and then pull back. Oh no, the lightning shield kills one of his archers. Oh, it's actually... He might finish the camp thanks to lightning shield. Maybe that was calculated. I don't think the archer death was calculated at all, but...
Yeah. I think he tried to trigger the lightning shield when he started the camp, but that didn't quite work out. But even without, it is gonna be finished here, this camp. But also Happy is creeping in the meantime, looking to snipe items. Got his natural creep first, going for the enemy natural next. With the ghouls, normal damage against the medium armor of 2 of the creeps here, easily enough doable. Was hoping for better than double gloves, but also those gonna be not too bad for the Lich.
Yeah, if DiSe hadn't denied one of the creeps in the start, he would be very, very close to level 3 right now. In fact, this Acolyte might have given it to him, so it's quite disastrous that this happens. But yeah, you have to somehow move on. It's really hard sometimes. Like, have you ever had that? I know you competed a little bit recently, you know, like you're a Skill Cup champion, you just played the tournaments over in Cologne. Do you ever have those moments where like you're playing and then there's a couple mishaps in the game and then, you know, you have to somehow move on from that, stay positive and play well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm very, very bad at that. I don't know how familiar you are with Smash, but they have a term for that. It's called the mental. The mental is very important to keep your composure and to not get flustered by your own mistakes. And I get tilted by my own mistakes all the time, so...
Do you have one in mind that happened recently?
Yeah, against Toxie in the tournament. I was on the new setup and I wasn't used to it yet and I was feeling maybe a bit nervous, and then I forgot to make some buildings and I land on tier 2, tried to make a graveyard and I noticed I didn't even start, tried to make a slaughterhouse I mean, and I noticed I didn't even start the graveyard yet. And at that moment I was sure I was gonna lose that series, but somehow I won it still, which was a miracle.
Yeah. Yeah, was that the Tidehunters game? Where you lost both of your heroes and then I tuned out, being sure that you lost, and then I saw that you won?
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, I did lose both my heroes, but I had a fast expansion. No problem, when you have a fast expansion, you win easy. As you sure know, Todd. We have a Panda second, by the way. This is super old school. Demon Hunter,
Yeah.
Panda, 1 base. This is not a very popular style nowadays. This is what used to be played from like 2008 until 2018 or something, until the Keeper came around. But yeah, here, DiSe going back to the basics.
Yeah, Panda is one of the heroes that in the last balance patch was buffed, where the strength and intelligence were both increased by 1, and also the max damage of Breath of Fire was raised. So on level 3, instead of doing 1080, he does 1200 damage maximum, which is pretty big when you're facing an undead player whom you know is going to be relying, you know, on ghouls. We don't really see Gargs so much these days, maybe also in part because of that Panda. But yeah, on level 3 is a super scary hero to face.
Absolutely. Sometimes the issue with the Panda can be getting those levels in, and DiSe is creeping here on tier 2, not super lightning fast, now finally in position with the next Ancient of War again. Maybe could have been a bit faster with that Ancient of War. But anyways, he's gonna get level 2 over here, gonna get a decent item, and the Demon Hunter in the middle, waiting for that first Invo Potion maybe. I know it's a Tele Staff, which can also be very valuable on the hero. Staff him out to save him with the Preservation Staff, and then heal him up, staff him back in with the Tele Staff can be really good, but it's a lot of gold also that's not going directly into units for that first big encounter.
I wonder what does DiSe creep next? Because he would have to wait for the Ancient of War to have moved to do one of the bigger camps without taking too much damage, but maybe because he's gonna be queuing bears shortly after. Actually, he queues another Dryad immediately behind. He could use the illusion actually on the demon, or even come back with the demon. Yeah, I think that's the way here. He probably thought of that and he was like, okay, if I just creep with the Panda taking all of damage on the turtle camp or the lab, that would be too much. Even combos Drunken Haze and Breath of Fire here to creep that even quicker. Those guys are very tanky, those Murlocs. They don't do the most damage, but they're very tanky.
The consumable here for him is the Hellstone, which can be very good to keep these heroes alive. Happy, not normally the guy who focuses heroes the most, but sometimes he will certainly throw in an aggressive Coil Nova. But Happy keeps on creeping and creeping. Pen of energy for him. And now gonna pick up the orb soon. And then the undead is gonna be fight ready. I think DiSe needs a bit longer. He certainly wants to have these Master Bears first before we're gonna have the first big fight.
Yeah, it's really nice to damage the statues a little bit before the fight here, because Breath of Fire also hits statues. So if he's able to land some of those later on, and he manages to take out those very statues, then he has a much better chance of perhaps winning the fight. Like if you can get them out of the fights, that's something that Undead is supposed to have there the whole time that they are going to be missing.
The Demon would love to get in some cheeky burns here, but Happy's being very protective of his statues, very careful with his positioning, doesn't expose the statues, doesn't expose the DK, and is going to go for a 50 supply expansion again. Like you said earlier, this is something that Happy has shown, especially against Night Elf, a lot over the last year or so. Sometimes he still throws in an all-in, but more and more he seems to favor that 50 supply expo.
I wonder if he will actually take it, because his rule might be, I wait until I see the opponent has an expo, then I take my own. Because imagine, like, as the Undead, you're not technically supposed to take the expansion here every time, right? For a long time, it was all about pushes. So imagine if you take the expo and then you get attacked and you barely don't have enough to stay alive. I mean, of course, it's Happy we're talking about, but still, it could end up being dangerous. So I think he might wait. And for now, he knows that DiSe doesn't have that one expansion that we talked about, especially because he's playing Demon Panda into Bears, which... If it was Keeper, you'd know there's an expo somewhere, but not with this style necessarily. Is he going for the red? With ghouls.
Seems like he is. Big item here for Happy if he gets it. Level 4 DK, again, big level up. That level 2 aura cannot be underestimated. Helps the entire army. And DiSe is looking for the expansion. He's moving around the southern side of the map, but here all the camps are gone already. Now has to be satisfied with a little green camp here, and that's gonna be very favorable trade.
Khadgar again. He gets Hood of Cunnings. So agility and intel for the Lich, not bad.
Oh, and Happy going for the Temple. This is something that Happy started only doing recently, over the last couple of weeks, playing Banshees in the late game. Master Banshees to steal the Bears. A strategy that was around on ladder for a long time, but not really considered viable until Happy touched it and showed how well it can be done.
Right,
we're gonna have the first fight without the Banshees. Going for the archers in the back right away. The ghouls looking for the targets. Heal scroll was used already. One of Mana Steel coming through. More coils flying. Mana on Happy now very low. The Bears having a tough time connecting. Happy microing against the Bears as best he can. Lich also dropping very low HP here. Has the big invo potion. Still gonna have to use it. Some Fiends very low indeed. Trying to get chased down by the Bear, but also getting saved by Happy. 50 supplies are remaining for the Undead, but the Demon knows where the Fiends are. DiSe has to get these follow-up kills.
Oh, the Panda is completely out of mana. Some Fiends getting caught in the top right here. One of them just got mauled by this one Bear. The other one will burrow, but was there a dust? No, there isn't. He doesn't have a Wisp at the lab either. That's... Oh, no, he does. On the other lab. Hey, why not? Works out as well. Gets another Fiend. So Happy lost a lot of his ground army here. Just a few ghouls escaped. He lost all of his Fiends. And he now only has 2 destroyers. I think you'd almost be considering here going for some air. Hippos, but it does feel like it's really late. And I think DiSe is just going to stay on Bears and Dryads. And he's finally got his first upgrade with a +1 attack.
Great presence of mind here by Happy to use one ghoul to scout for an expansion. If this expo comes through, this game is looking pretty damn good for DiSe. But this should still be fast enough for the cats. Of course, the big advantage here for the Undead army in the late game. Their movement speed, their mobility on the map, super high. These ghouls might not be too good at fighting anymore, but certainly at killing buildings. Happy gonna TP out and actually saves every single unit. Nicely done. And buys himself so much time by canceling that expansion.
I think DiSe... Obviously, now he's going to create the lab. He's going to expand on the right-hand side. I love that adjustment because, you know, it's harder to access for Happy and more like on the side of map of DiSe. So yeah, he's going to create the lab. And after that, I believe that the marketplace is the only camp left on the map. He could actually get Panda level 5 if he did both of those camps entirely with just the Pandas. So that might be the plan here. And DiSe, I am so impressed with him here in this game. He's playing super solid. He's getting resistant skin right now. And a Mountain Giants. Do you agree with that? Don't you think he should stay on Bears?
I haven't seen Mountain Giants much recently. Well, the thing about Mountain Giants is, with resistance skin, they cannot be possessed by Banshees, so that way it makes sense. Of course, the DPS is low. That's where the Panda comes in to provide that DPS. However, with Anti-Magic Shell active, it's going to be much harder for the Panda to do this. He's going to need, like, 2 Breaths of Fire to chew through the Anti-Magic.
Yeah, that's... definitely the way for Happy to deal with this high-level Panda here. And also with bears at the same time. Makes a lot of sense on paper to actually go for that. Full inventory for DiSe. Might get rid of, I don't know, the gauntlet or the mantle. Because he will secure this camp here. And I don't think that's quite level 5, but he can. There's a small green camp right below this for him to get that. Demon needs to be careful on the other side.
Very close down to the level 5. You said it. The green camp here is almost enough. It's not quite going to be level 5, but he's going to get very, very close to it. And Happy still can't fight too easily. His mass banshees on master training are still pretty far away.
I think the tree is far long enough that... Oh my god, he's out of position. I think that's another cancel and TP. Oh my god. Actually, you're just gonna run away.
And I can perhaps threaten some wisps in the main, but smart staff here by the Demon Hunter already in position in the main base to throw out a couple of burns here. And the Panda ready to intercept.
That was so smart by Happy, by the way. I don't know if he checked the bottom side, but he checked the top right-hand side with the destroyer that he flew in. He saw the timing on the tree. He's like, okay, that's just enough for me to go there and cancel it before you could ever get wisps in position and repair. So he goes there, gets the cancel. Now he's got the heroes 4-4 against 4 and 4.9 here on that Panda. That guy is just missing a little bit of experience, but there's 0 creeps left on the map.
Indeed, not a single one. Oh, the Demon Hunter in trouble, getting blocked here by the statue. Almost forces the TP. Oh, stops moving for a moment, but the Demon does get away. Gonna need some rejuve here. Not too much mana on the bears, by the way. Not endless rejuve available here. Drunken Haste, Breath of Fire. Oh, but the splits by Happy doesn't allow for a big Breath of Fire. One ghoul is gonna go down, but only one. And that's still not enough for 5.
Yeah, the statue took damage here. It's important to note. One more mana burn, one more breath, and he will be very low on hit points. Dryads need to be careful here. You don't want to get those cards. The statue? He's trying to get the statue with the demon. 2 mana burns might do it. Here's the first one. He's diving deep, but the Panda is now too far to actually get the experience for this. But killing a statue is always nice.
And some ghouls in the back as well. The Dryad slow here, kicking in. Panda. This is his level 5. One more ghoul. Oh, that's denied.
And actually, DiSe waited for a bit before breaking upkeep. He's going into that triple mountain giant composition. On the other side, Happy hasn't broken upkeep yet. This is so greedy. He's just so confident that if he gets attacked, he will break immediately. And he's still on 49 supply out of 70, with almost 1,000 gold.
The town is under siege.
And we have a Dark Ranger third for DiSe. Alright, he wants to be able to cancel the possession with silence. So it's going to depend on how well Happy's going to spread to negate that as much as possible. DiSe with a much bigger army, but it's not like he can really force the issue right now.
Yeah. I wonder actually how he's going to use the silence, right? Because it's also very tempting to silence the undead heroes, but Happy has destroyers. So if you use the silence early and it's then on cooldown, Happy can use his spell with the destroyers immediately, and then he can possess bears, and then you've bought a Dark Ranger level 1 with silence that just did almost nothing. So you might have to wait and be very patient for the Banshees to try for the possession and then use that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think that's the way he has to play it. Wait for the possession to be channeled and then use the silence. And hopefully 2 Banshees are sitting next to each other, but no way to guarantee that. That's why the Dark Ranger also can be a little underwhelming. It's of course specifically an anti-possession tech, but sometimes you can only cancel one single possession with it, which it's a pretty expensive way to do it for 425 gold.
Yeah, Happy's just running around. He's happy to buy time here. He's finally broken upkeep. That's a lot of Banshees. Everything's gonna have anti-magic shell on it. And he actually left the statues at home very smartly as well to replenish, or like to rather gain the whole mana pool on those Banshees before he finally moves out. The Wanna Bomb with Disease Cloud. Remo, it's happening.
Wait, aren't you the guy who always gets upset when there's no Disease Cloud?
Yeah, that's why I'm happy here.
Okay. Yeah, an extended engagement, of course. That damage over time is going to be very, very effective, and we're going to have a big fight, boys. 80 versus 80 supply, more or less. When exactly is that going to happen, though? That's the question. Happy is still scouting for expansions, but for now, DiSe has given up on the idea of a second base.
It's almost like a weird army though for Happy because he has only 3 fiends. Sorry, 4. It's funny to think that he has true shots, only 4 fiends, but I guess those banshees do a lot of damage against the bears, right? Because it's magic damage does extra. But the MGs are going to be the problem. So the engagement, like the preset that happens before the fight actually begins, is going to be extremely important. Like if your DiSe, you want to come in from multiple sides, fight off Blight, and just really like kind of like surround this undead army and somehow get some great connections with Drunken Haze and Breath of Fire. If you're Happy, you kind of want the opponent's army to be blocking each other, you know, like those melee units not to be able to get through, like slow them down and get in some really big damage and maybe some of those big possessions he's thinking about.
I'll say I favor Happy's position much more here. His idea, of course, is going to be to steal the bears. And bears are already really good units. One of the best units in the game. But give them Unholy Aura, Statues, and Anti-Magic Shell. And bears are crazy. And that is absolutely possible and in the cards here for Happy. He's going to max out on 80. He can make one more Banshee if he wishes. So much damage on these fiends. And let me say it this way. If DiSe wins this, he's made a new fan today.
I'm already his fan, but yeah, I'd be an even bigger fan for sure. DiSe's biggest mistake would be to fight on Blight, so I like that he didn't engage. He has Moonwells to fall back on, and he also could move his main tree to another expansion when that expires, which is there is only 1600 gold right now left at that one. So he's expanding, and the pressure is kind of on Happy to attack. DiSe, he has to defend this attack any way he can, and if he can do that and stay alive with the Moonwells in the back, maybe he still has a chance to win this game. But this attack is going to be extremely strong. It's going to be like a punch from One Punch Man. Maybe Neo himself will be summoned for this one, and good luck surviving that one.
Very interesting how they're going to take this engagement. The bears want to do something, but they don't want to be overexposed. You want to be able to silence multiple banshees, so Happy ideally wants to spread them out. And off we go. Pana getting nuked right away. Drunken Haze Breath of Fire doesn't do that much damage thanks to that anti-magic shell is active everywhere. Bears moving forward, we see the first possession coming in. Is it silenced? The Pana's getting killed! Too much stuff going on. The Curl Nova executes the Pana, the big damage dealer, and 2 bears are stolen. They don't have too much mana here, but more possessions coming through. 3 bears now have changed sides, and the Demon Hunter about to drop as well. Didn't use the TP there. It wouldn't have mattered, and the GG is called, and Happy wins this 2-0.